Hi there. Are you considering a move to the Portland and Vancouver greater areas? No doubt, you have heard about all the turmoil that is going on in Portland, and this has given the whole region a bad reputation. Well, rest assured, this reputation should not extend to most of the region beyond the city limits of Portland. Portland has about 600,000 people within the city limits, and we have close to 3 million in the Portland metropolitan area. The city of Portland leaders have failed. They failed with the homeless situation. The city is defunding the police. You can't get a policeman to show up for property crime. The whole city emergency response team has resigned. They are tired of fighting riots and arresting people and never having them prosecuted. They don't have the support of the leaders or the community within the city limits of Portland. Riots and destruction of both public and private property go without consequences. But almost all of the suburbs are far and away from the problems we see in the city of Portland. So don't allow one bad apple, the city of Portland, to spoil the whole bunch, because the region is beautiful. It has a great climate and tons, almost limitless opportunities for recreation. The city and community of Wilsonville in Clackamas County, Oregon, is a gem. It is near West Linn. My last video, they share the same school district, the West Linn Wilsonville School District, and I went into more detail about the schools in the West Linn video. A greater spread of home buying opportunity prices in Wilsonville than in West Linn. Median home price of homes on the market right now in Wilsonville, $750,000. And quickly, let's talk about median home price. When the median home price is published, it is generally talking about the past, the history. What have the greatest number of homes in the area sold for? Now, what I'm talking about is the median home price of homes that are on the market, because that's all that really matters to me. Who cares what the prices were 6 months ago? What's important is what the prices are right now. And right now, the median home price in Wilsonville is about $750,000. That's $250,000 less than West Linn and $750,000 less than Lake Oswego. These are the two communities that I have featured in my last two videos. So for $750,000, what will that get you? A 2,500 square foot home at a price of about $300 a square foot, which is fairly comparable by the square foot to West Linn, but Lake Oswego was over $400 per square foot. So sit back and enjoy this educational ride on moving to Wilsonville, Oregon. Hey there, this is Joseph Nelson. I am with the Ascend Home Team and eXp Realty. I've lived here for over 60 years, and I know the entire region inside and out. I've seen it grow from a much smaller metropolitan area to what it is today. I am a licensed realtor in both Oregon and Washington, and I feature communities on both sides of the state line, the Columbia River, in both Oregon and Washington. The communities that I make videos on are favored for the following reasons: great schools, easy and ample access to shopping, good freeway access, a high degree of safety, law and order, a low incidence homelessness, and in most cases, these communities have their own emergency services, police and fire, that answer to their own citizens. But in order to start your own moving experience with me and my team, you have to call or text me. People comment, wow, I am actually working with a guy that's making these videos. And yes, you will. You will be the focus of my years of knowledge and experience in this region, and not just a few communities. There are those that specialize in one city, say Vancouver, and that's fine. But my goal is to give people a broader understanding of the entire region and which community might best fit their needs. And sometimes that's not Vancouver. So we are going to get after Wilsonville right now. Okay, Wilsonville sits at the very southern edge of the Portland metropolitan area. After you get past Wilsonville, if you're commuting from Portland to Salem, the freeway really opens up. Wilsonville is kind of the last pinch point for congestion on I-5 as you head south out of Portland. After Wilsonville, you will immediately go over the Willamette River and enter into farmland and open space of the Willamette Valley. This is all flat. If you worked in Salem, Wilsonville would be an awesome place to live because there's very little traffic between Wilsonville and Salem, and I believe that Wilsonville is a better community than Salem. Every direction you go in from Wilsonville, you're going to see farmland. Wilsonville is somewhat isolated and is separate. It doesn't connect directly to the next community to the north, which is Tualatin, or the next community to the east, which is West Linn. No, there is open space between these communities. So depending on your personal preference, this could be a blessing or a curse. But you are isolated by 7 miles, which isn't that far, to a wonderful community that has everything you need. There's no confusion on where Wilsonville ends, as it is not connected to the sprawl of Portland. Wilsonville is a newer town incorporated in 1968, so there are only a few opportunities for mid-century homes. These neighborhoods are far and few between. Most of the homes here were built in the last 20 years. So as you tour neighborhoods, they will all seem pretty new. And the business districts are much the same. They are newer, without a lot of old commerce. I-5, the freeway, splits almost exactly in the middle Wilsonville. The I-5 goes right through Wilsonville. You have West Wilsonville and you have East Wilsonville. And these two communities have their own identity. But the fact remains, Wilsonville, because of this, has amazing freeway access. The east side of the freeway, although in size is about the same size as the west side, by population the east side is higher. And this is true for both homes and business. The west side is emerging, but it has become quite impressive. The east side of the freeway is where all the city government buildings are. City Hall, Public Works, etc. And these are located right in the downtown core. There are no high-rise buildings in Wilsonville. These are all, I think, 3 stories might be the tallest building in town. A large theater and Fry's Electronics have recently become victims of the coronavirus. Now, we could make a case that Fry's Electronics was on the downturn for a long time, but the coronavirus was a nail in the coffin for both the Regal Cinema and Fry's Electronics. It will be interesting to see who goes into these large buildings. But there's tons of shopping here. Safeway, places to get tires like Schwab, and many smaller shopping and restaurants. There is a business there called Bullwinkle's. This is a kid and young adult place that's an amusement center. And this has a regional reach. I know when my kids were in school, they had one of their all-night graduation parties there that is drug and alcohol free and safe. And they spent the whole night there riding go-karts and bumper boats, miniature golf, and tons of arcade games. And like I say, this is a regional attraction. But if you have family or you have family in town, the kids would love to go there. In a nutshell, you could truly live in Wilsonville and never leave town. There is a large park on the Willamette River in Wilsonville, just a couple blocks off of the main drag through Wilsonville. This is called Memorial Park. They have ball fields. Much of this park is wooded. There are walking paths through the park. Kids play area. Group picnic areas. You can reserve picnic areas to have outdoor picnics with organizations or family. And this park is located right on the Willamette River. There are a few smaller parks in Wilsonville as well, with play structures and fountains to cool off in the summer. The kids love playing in this fountain that doesn't really hold any water. It's recirculated, and so there's very little chance of drowning there. But it is a great place to cool off. One of the parks right downtown hosts concerts in the park. Now, last year, these were canceled due to the coronavirus, and I'm hoping these will be back this year. These are free, and there's a number of them throughout the summer with different groups or bands. If you've never seen Johnny Limbo and the Lugnuts, you owe it to yourself to this treat. 50s and 60s rock and roll with a large, probably 10-member band that cycle on and off the stage and change into different uniforms. And it's a great show, and I enjoy going every year. And it's definitely worth the cost. Bring your blanket or chairs and a picnic, plenty of drinks. There's not a lot of shade. Sit in the grass and enjoy the evening. So that's a quick overview of the town. Let's talk about the schools. The school district is the West Linn Wilsonville School District, and I went into detail about the school district in my last video on West Linn. So it'll be a little more brief this time, but rest assured, these are great schools, very highly rated, some of the best in the region. You would be hard-pressed to find a better place to have your kids educated. You're going to have to do your own homework on the hot topic issues like critical race theory and gender studies, as this is a fluid thing and it changes all the time. And what I say about it today could be obsolete tomorrow. Let's talk about safety. Wilsonville has its own police department and its own fire department and its own city government. This is very much a law and order community. You don't see evidence of homelessness as you go about town. You don't see graffiti like you do in Portland. And because you're somewhat removed from the sprawl of the Portland metro area, it would be quite an investment or effort for people who have ill intent to get to the community. I always recommend buying a home that's at least a mile from the freeway, but in the case of Wilsonville, I might soften that because you're already 7 miles from the next nearest town. You should feel very safe here. Okay, let's talk about homes. There aren't a lot of homes in Wilsonville that fit the first-time home buyer price point because there aren't a lot of older neighborhoods with mid-century ranch homes. There are a couple neighborhoods like that, but there are no homes on the market currently in those neighborhoods. There are some alternatives, and that would be condos. There are a lot of newer condos and attached townhouses in Wilsonville, and these are in very upscale neighborhoods. And this could be an awesome place for someone that has absolutely no interest in maintenance of their property, such as retirees, to locate to. And some of these condo buildings do have elevators, even though they're only 3 or 4 stories tall. Condos start at about $200,000, but you're going to have to get more into the $400,000 price point before you have much availability. And there are lots being built as I speak. And let's digress from the city proper for a moment. Right on the other side of the Willamette River is a community called Charbonneau. This is an upscale community, although the median home price isn't any different if I slice it down to strictly that community. It's no different than the city proper of Wilsonville. I really don't know how Wilsonville pulled this off. It's on the other side of the Willamette River. Charbonneau is on the other side of the Willamette River, but it is in the Canby School District. I don't know if they pulled a fast one to push this annexation on the other side of the river, but the fact is that they did. And Charbonneau was one of the first planned communities in the state of Oregon. The majority of the homes here are single story. The community was built around a 27-hole golf course. Some of the homes in Charbonneau are located right on the Willamette River. The current most expensive home in Wilsonville is in Charbonneau, and this is at $5 million, and it is right on the river. There are also many condo and townhouse communities in Charbonneau, but they're pretty upscale, and some of them are 55-plus communities, not all. There's really no affordable living here. There are 1,158 townhouse or condos, 510 single-family homes. I believe none of the homes are located in 55 and over areas, but the country club is 55 and over only, with indoor and outdoor tennis courts, workout facilities, etc. And you have to be a member here. It doesn't come automatically by owning a home here. There's a small commercial district here with some restaurants and coffee shops and a small grocery store, but you will find yourself going back into the Wilsonville proper to do most of your serious shopping, other than convenience items. You'll have to get back on the freeway, go across the Willamette River. As soon as you get on the freeway and cross the Willamette River, you're ready to get off downtown Wilsonville. And this might take 3 minutes, but you're not going to walk this. So let's take a drive, getting on the freeway, heading south from Wilsonville, crossing the Willamette River, and then getting off the freeway and driving into the community of Charbonneau. Run the B-roll. Okay, let's talk about the drive time from Wilsonville to other various communities and attractions. These are based on posted freeway speeds, and this is not always the case, as there is some congestion around rush hour going to and from Wilsonville. Downtown Portland, 25 minutes. Bridgeport Village Shopping Center, 10 minutes. Washington Square Mall, one of the big 3 shopping centers in the Portland area, 20 minutes. Drive south to the Woodburn Factory Stores, which is a pretty cool name brand store mall, 10 minutes. Drive time to the Portland Airport, 35 minutes. So you can see it's a bit of a commitment to live in Wilsonville if you regularly commute to the northern reaches of Portland. But heading south is a breeze. We pay a price for having this separation from the rest of the Portland metropolitan area, and I don't see this changing, because directly to the north, which is still technically considered Wilsonville, there are some industrial areas with warehouses and Camping World and car dealerships, etc. And to the east is farmland between Wilsonville and West Linn. To the west is Sherwood, that's about 10 minutes away, but that is a trip through farmland as well. So I don't see sprawl, I should say never, but I just can't see sprawl hitting Wilsonville from any of the surrounding communities. This should remain to be a isolated community from the rest of the Portland region. So let's talk about how Wilsonville differs from West Linn. West Linn was built on a hill, much opportunity for homes with views. Wilsonville is built in the Willamette Valley and is flat. There are no hills in Wilsonville until you get out of town and start heading into the country. But there is no floodplain here. It's all at the elevation of about 50 feet above sea level. On the west side, there are quite a few wetlands, and these are a combination of true wetlands that have not been developed at all, and wetlands that are farms. And there are neighborhoods that border these wetlands and open spaces that, in my opinion, will never have homes built on them. So if you buy a home bordered by some open space in these wetland areas, you're not in a floodplain, but I'm going to tell you, you'll probably never see a home built there, so you will retain that open feel as long as you live there. So nobody is going to encroach on your view. You know, the weather here is no different from any other community in the Portland, Vancouver area. Summer temperatures average about 82 degrees during the day and 60 at night. Winter temperatures, 60 during the day, 50 at night. It cools off quickly at night here in the summer, so even on a day that's in the 90s, by 8 o'clock it's very comfortable to be outside. Unlike many other parts of the country where it just stays hot all night. Our summers here are fairly dry. From June through October, you can depend on pretty consistently dry weather. Winters are very variable. It's either cool and clear, and we have our coldest temperatures here when it's clear because there's no cloud cover, but it might be 30 at night and 40 during the day when it's clear. When it's overcast, it might be 55 during the day and 55 at night. Our rainy periods tend to be warmer, but very rarely does it rain all day long. One exception to this is when we get the Pineapple Express, which is a band of water that comes from Hawaii and comes right across us, and we might get 5 inches of rain in the course of a few days. And in this case, it's raining pretty much constantly. But other than these once or twice a year events, our days tend to be variable. We'll get a little bit of rain, we'll have some clearing, get a little more rain, we'll have some clearing. So generally speaking, there is always a little bit of time to get outdoors. I know this because I spent 30 years working outdoors. We periodically have temperatures over 100 degrees. We had one 3 weeks ago where we got to 117. And this beat our all-time heat record by 10 degrees. And this is considered to be a once in a 1,000-year event. Las Vegas is talking about possibly beating their all-time record high of 130 degrees. So this is happening all over the West. And I don't believe that this is a trend, but rather an anomaly. Although the trend of getting drier in the entire West seems to be truly a trend. And cities in the Southwest are getting hotter and drier, and their water is becoming more and more scarce. Where here in the Northwest, even if our rain slacks off a little bit, we're still going to have plenty of water because we get really too much. We may in the future have states and cities begging for us to build a pipeline to take them water. So I hope this gives you an insight on whether Wilsonville could be a community that you should consider when moving to the Portland and Vancouver area. Let's discuss issues that are specific to your lifestyle and needs. And let's get you into the community that best fits your lifestyle and finances. I have a lender that is super creative with helping buyers buy their new home before they sell their old home. And I would encourage you to contact me. Allow me to introduce you to this lender before you put your existing home on the market. Because once it's on the market, many of the opportunities that he's going to recommend go away. He makes things happen for people that honestly surprise them, and he makes things happen that in the past have been told you can't do. But he is an integral part of my team. But remember, you have to call or text me to start your own moving experience when moving to Wilsonville. And until the next video, I'll catch you later.